biological producer in East Europe. We cover more than 4 million hectares. Our products are supported by more than 2,000 trials data. So we are actively developing in Europe as well. So speaking about our today's topic, we know that soil granite pests cause quite huge damages to the agriculture, more than 1 billion euros annually. And on some crops, as mentioned here, like maize, potatoes, wheat, sugar beet, that could be quite significant, both from pests mentioned here and others. And today we will speak about pests like Agriotes, Diabrotica, Melalonta, Propinota, and Viltalpa. And why it's so actual now? Because number of chemical substances are forbidden now, and farmers need alternatives. So that was the reason. Actually, nearly 6-7 years ago, we got a request from one of our big partners, which hears something that Beauveria Bassiana could have action against Diabrotica. So we then started our work on development of the product to find the efficient strain and develop the formulation. And since that, we are getting a lot of data which confirms the perspective of this solution. So the idea is that we apply Beauveria Bassiana in soil to create a kind of protective shield, so that when pests have a life cycle of life in soil, they are infected, and we disrupt their biological cycle. One of the examples of application of this product was done by our partner Karma, who have nearly 500,000 hectares in Ukraine. Actually, the representative Mikhail Zhubai is also here. Tested this product for 3 years on corn, and they get positive result both on the improvement of the yield of corn and the number of plants damaged by Diabrotica. So in parallel, we studied this product against beet weevil, and more or less 3 weeks ago I was in Poland visiting one sugar beet producer, not the producer but the plant, and they really have risks to close their facilities because farmers nearby have big infestation of beet weevil and cannot grow it, and they are seeking for the solutions. So with a similar reason, we held some tests in Ukraine with farmer Astarta, who have near 3,000–4,000 hectares of sugar beet. And from the first year, in 2021, we applied the product. So it was interesting then, more or less during 2 months after our checking of the trial plots, we didn't find so many infected pests, but when we returned to the field in the end of autumn, we already find a lot of infected pests, which you can see on the picture, which proved the presence of Beauveria Bassiana in soil and its efficacy. But we continue the study program, and in 2023 we already get some trial data which proves farmer gets better yield on the protected field. So another important pest is wireworms. So we did plenty of tests against it, both on field crops like sunflower, corn, but also in vegetables production. And here on this slide you can see that in Moldova, in a test which we did for registration of this product there, we get up to 90% efficacy against wireworms. In another test done in scientific stations in Ukraine, we get nearly 60% technical efficacy, which by the way was more efficient than metallizium. One additional interesting study was done in Europe in different research stations. So idea was to compare Metavite to chemical insecticides against wireworms, and you can see that comparing to Dmytro, for example, Metavite was almost on the same level, and the similar situation we have seen in other field on potato, where Metavite was almost as good as chlorpyrifos was. Another pest which we tested it on was May beetle or Melalonta. So here efficacy in some studies were a little bit lower, like 50–60%, with better efficacy on the young stages of the larva. But in another tests, also in Moldova for registration purposes, efficacy was quite high, up to 90%. Next direction of study was against Viltalpa. When I was small, I was quite afraid about this pest. Not about the agricultural damage, but visually. So here you can see that you can beat this strange pest with Beauveria 2. We get nearly 75-78% efficacy both in Moldova and in Ukraine tests. Interesting, we don't perceive Beauveria as the most best solution against nematodes, but while we are working on our new solutions, we put it as kind of etalon. And it's interesting to find that we find out that efficacy of Beauveria to suppress nematodes in these test conditions was up to like 70%. So it's for us it's a kind of side effect. If you put it against the soil pest, you also can get less damage from nematodes. We did some other tests against different pests like Dmytro, Zabrus and Tropinota in laboratory with also efficacy, quite high efficacy, higher than 80-90%. And the last but not the least example, I wanted to show you a test against Tropinota, which we did in the gardens. Against it was one of the first years we did tests, and for us it was very intriguing to monitor the efficacy, to find the damaged pests. And in one test we were quite disappointed because 2 months after application of the product in the orchard we find a lot of larvae which seem to be normal, healthy, alive. So we were quite disappointed. We take those larvae in a laboratory to think what we can do with them. But then after more or less few weeks we observed that we did nothing to these pests, but they are infected by and damaged by Beauveria. This gives us a good hint that working with these solutions, you need to monitor field maybe a little bit longer than few weeks, sometimes it's few months, but finally pests got infected, and when their conditions are suitable, fungi do their job. So on that, I want to make a short summary that we believe that Beauveria bassiana had a good potential against soil granny pests based on our data and facts. And we really hope that with help of IBMA, European farmers would get quicker access to such solutions which are presented on today's sessions. It's in our hands.
Thank you, Dmytro, for your clear presentation. Are there questions in the audience? There is one question over there, in the back of
Hi, thanks for the great presentation. It's Charlotte Ellis from Corteva. As you have quite a range of efficacy on different species, did you have any issues with effects on beneficial soil organisms?
Of course, it's one of the studies which are done during kind of registering of the strain to check its safety both for human and beneficial biota. So in our 5-6 years experience, we didn't observe any examples of harm to beneficial biota. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another question? This seems not to be the case. Then thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. If any questions, please go ahead.